my first question for our interview, so we can just, hop straight into it, is can you just give a little brief bio of who you are, what you stand for, and what your beliefs are?
Okay, so I'm Sarah Aduwemi. I am currently the 51st Miss University of Maryland Eastern Shore, one
Hey.
of the few junior queens as a campus queen. I majored in aviation management, and I'm currently from Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm like the youngest of four siblings, born and raised in Arizona my entire life. My current mission right now is, as an NASA intern, is encouraging other young women, especially Black women, to join the STEM industry and to make sure that they feel welcome, even though that we are a minority, a double minority, because the STEM industry, especially even at my HBCU, it's dominated by men. And so that is something that I've definitely been trying to do and have been making some moves towards that.
Yes. Can everybody just who's on the live just go ahead, send her the clapping emoji, because when the first time she told me that, I was like, and she's only a junior. Like, I could have literally clutched my pearls. Like, girl, you better go off. Like, you're phenomenal. You already know that I think so highly of you. Like, everything that you're doing is like breathtaking and amazing, and it's just crazy. Like, so my follow-up, I guess, was what was your motivation to run for the queen of your HBCU?
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to have that impact with young girls especially, and I felt that being Miss UMES especially was a position that could help me achieve that. So originally I was the freshman and sophomore class vice president under SGA, and I just wasn't really having the impact that I wanted to have with my platform and everything that I wanted to do. And so definitely my mother, Queen Carmia, she actually kind of inspired me a lot. So watching her campaign and everything, and then really being able to watch her throughout her entire reign, I was able to see like, okay, this is something that I really want to do and I have a passion for. So let me go ahead and do it. And so I did it going as a sophomore running to be Miss UMES. And it has been like a really good experience, and definitely everything that I've been trying to do, impacting especially these young girls and young people on cross campus, has been so amazing. And like the opportunity to really just be able to like do that and impact these people has been like one of the best experiences that I've ever had.
Yeah. So, I guess a question that goes like on the opposite side of that is like, did you have any like reservations about running? And during the process, did you kind of knock those away? Like, just talk about that a little bit.
So going all the way back to campaign season, because campaign's actually coming back up.
Yes, it
That was
is.
like that was like March. So I actually wasn't positive that I was going to run for Miss UMES. I'd had it in my head since like October of 2018. So during that time, I was actually making like notes that like nobody even knows this. Like actually maybe like one or two people know, but like I was making like notes like in my phone, like just things like, okay, I kind of want to do this if I run for Miss UMES, and like I kind of want to like have this as a campaign, and I kind of want to like have like these events, all these things. So I had like a whole like thing in my notes, just going all the way down, running through like everything.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
know, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
and so going into like January, February, campaign season is coming up. So I'm like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna actually run or not? And so like everybody had like assumed that I was gonna run for like VP again or something, like because I was going into my junior year or like something like that. But I kind of just like popped out my campaign. I didn't tell anybody that I was running. I didn't tell anybody that I was running for Miss UMES. And so I was just kind of like, oh. And so I was kind of like, I don't know, like I think my biggest reservation was like, am I going to win or not, stuff like that. But like obviously like nobody knows if you're going to win. You just really have to campaign. You have to like fight for it, honestly.
Right,
And
it's a
so
juggle.
yeah. And so throughout campaign season, like it was like definitely hectic. It was stressful. It's expensive.
Yeah.
But being able to like just like engage with a lot of the student body, tell them what I'm about, tell them my platform and why I want to be Miss UMES, that was something that I guess set me apart from everyone else.
Right. I I can relate to the campaign part. Like,
Yes.
campaigning was really stressful, but it was completely worth it. And I feel like during campaign season is when you really get to talk to everybody and like
Hmm.
tell them who you are, especially people who may not talk to you on a regular basis. You like really are like, okay, like, because I want you to vote for me, but at the same time, I feel like you would vote for me if you knew me. So,
Yeah.
like, let me put you on to who I am.
Hmm.
So, um, going back to your major and what you want to do with your career and the fact that you're literally a NASA intern, a lot of people don't hear about women, going into aviation on a day-to-day basis. So can you talk a little bit about why you chose your major and why you chose the career field that you want to go into?
Okay, so I knew that I wanted to go into aviation specifically around my junior to senior year of high school. Since like elementary school, I knew that I wanted to go into the STEM industry. I wasn't sure about doing like computer science or engineering or anything like that. But then around like high school, I had seen like some things and done some research into like different programs, especially in the East Coast. And so aviation was something that really stuck out to me. I still wasn't sure that this is really what I wanted to do, or like what can be the outcomes of this, what career do I want to have upon like
Mm-hmm.
graduating and things like that. And so I started to see like, okay, yeah, it is a growing industry, even though it's already like huge. Everybody's traveling and stuff like by now
Mm-hmm.
by plane. And so it's definitely growing. But then going into my freshman year of college, that is when I actually knew that, yes, this is what I want to do. I actually fell in love with the industry. All my classes, my professors were amazing, and like being able to like get firsthand experience with like the BWI and things like that, I was able to like get acquainted in the aviation industry and make connections, things like that. And so then this past summer I was in Ohio at the NASA Red Research Center. Yes. And so being able to do that and like seeing like I was able to inspire a lot of like young girls. People were reaching out to me after that, like, how did you like get your internship? Or people like, oh, I want to enter the STEM industry, but like I know it's not many of us that are in the STEM industry. And even at my own HBCU, it's like actually mostly men that are in the aviation courses that are enrolled in the aviation major. And
Mm-hmm.
it's actually at my HBCU, it's mostly white people that are in that major. So
Mm-hmm.
it's, yes, so it's a very, very small percentage of especially Black women that are in that major. So just being able to like encourage and like inspire these people to continue, women especially, to continue on in the
Yeah.
STEM industry to pursue that is something
Mm-hmm.
that I think is really, really important.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's interesting. Like you're at an HBCU and
Yes.
still men, and there are still white people that are dominating in your major. So that and in your field, like that's really like of the fields because I would have never thought that. I would have never knew
Yes.
that if you wouldn't have said that. Like that's interesting to know.
Mhm.
But so what would you say are some of like the challenges that you face with, balancing your coursework because you are a STEM major and queendom? Like what have been some of the challenges that you face like doing both of those things because you're all in with both of them. So I just want to know how do you balance them?
Definitely setting a schedule for myself. It was
Mm-hmm.
a kind of like a rude awakening coming into August, and all of a sudden I have like all these projects and classes and things that I still need to do, obviously, and then I still also have my queen duties that I need to
Yeah.
fulfill. Starting in August, we start school like the very end of August, so we had like a really tight schedule, especially for our freshman elections. So starting from leaving NOLA, all of that stuff, and then starting school 2 weeks. Like in 2 weeks, we have the freshman pageant, and so being able to plan that and juggle that while starting to like get immersed in classes was a little bit difficult. So I found
Yeah.
that like getting a schedule, writing out what I need to do for the week, setting reminders for myself so I don't miss
Mm-hmm.
meetings. I was missing like I was like forgetting. I was like, oh, I have class at 5 o'clock. So like things like that. Just like
Yeah.
setting a reminder for myself was really
Yeah.
important.
I was
Mm-hmm.
gonna say the same for me. Like I literally have like Outlook, they remind you, you can have reminders in Outlook. I
Mm-hmm.
do all of them. Like I have like
Yeah.
a reminder for me to go to meetings because it's when you're doing so much, it can become a real hassle. And then I know that you're a junior, so you're still probably taking a lot of like, core classes, and it's not, classes that you can like sweep under the rug at all. Like, so, like I was blessed to be able to take only one more. I was done with my last core class last semester, and then I had a couple of electives. So I was still juggling, and it was still pretty hard to manage all of them, because even though they were electives, you still want to put your best foot forward and maintain your GPA and everything like that. So I already know that can be a lot, but reminders and
Oh, you're fine.
or wanting to do this, I would definitely say that's a note to take, and you should definitely just already be ready. Like your phone, whether you use your phone or you take literal notes or you put sticky notes everywhere, like, because I know some people do that, and then like or having a real schedule where you write things down. All of those can be helpful. So I am moving on to my next question. And so what was your campaign, structure? Like what was your platform, should I say? So what were the things that you stood on, and how have you been implementing those throughout the school year, do you feel?
So my platform is actually Culture. So a background on that, it's based off the Migos album Culture, so Culture 1 and Culture 2. So if you had seen my campaign like flyer, it's actually 3 of me, as if like the Migos with like the red background and all of that, 51. And so like it was really like unique and all of that. So Culture stands for Cultivating University Life Through Unity, Restoration, and Excellence. So the 3 things that I'm tackling are unity, restoration, and excellence. So I had mentioned to you that like I was trying to like build a legacy, especially with the Imperial Court and especially with my school. It is a small university, and so some people may never have even heard of UMES. Like, oh, like like I've never heard of it. I didn't know that it was like, even in Maryland, like things like that. So,
I'm guilty.
And so like being able to start that, have more people know the university's name, more people see the Imperial Court out doing these things, restoring the hot pride, which is what we are motto at our university is like restoring that pride back into the students, and then eventually throughout the community of Princess Anne, which is with the city which our university is in, and the Somerset County. So being able to combine all 3 to make sure that our university is just becoming like better as the years go on. So that's why I'm definitely trying to not only establish that for my reign, but make sure that that continues to be something that is established throughout the queens that come after me.
I really like the Migos thing. Like that's dope. That's dope. My campaign and platform was Bloom, and I just had a lot of flowers. That was me. I was real flowery and dainty. So it's like Bloom with me. So that's really cool. I like the culture. That's unique. That's different for sure. What did you say that was it an acronym? Was culture an acronym, or did you literally like mean culture?
Yeah, well, it was kind of both. So anytime someone says culture, everybody's like, oh, Sarah. But it stands for the Cultivating University Life Through Unity, Restoration, and Excellence. So like those 3 bullet points.
Okay. I was gonna say that's how you break it down. Right? And so, how do you feel like that platform and really setting the bar and putting your university on the map is going to affect the next queen after you, and the generations that come way after you? Like, how do you feel like what you're doing is helping? Like, how would you describe that?
Yeah, so definitely like putting them on the map. So from my reign on, people are actually looking at this university now. So there's a standard that needs to be upheld. So the queens that come after that, they have to live up to that standard. So to make sure that not only people just know our university, but people are actually watching our university. People want to attend our university, just making sure that it's continuing to be greater than what it is. So
speaking on, repping for your school, you placed top 5 at Hall of Fame. So, like, you got to give us the tea. Like, how did you do it? Like, how did you make it happen? Tell us the secret. because, you know, you were like the only small school that, you know, was up there, to be honest, and you're only a junior, so it just makes it even more icing on the cake.
Mm-hmm. You know, so that experience was really, really interesting. It was a lot of stress being able to prepare for it. So like I told you, like the freshman pageant was like September 19th, and like the 23rd or something like that. A couple days later, we were leaving for Atlanta. So having to like balance the Queen stuff, my classes, and making sure that everything is going okay with my court, but then also trying to prepare for Atlanta was just kind of difficult for me. And so it led me to like really actually become who I am today, because that was like probably the most stressed out I've ever been ever. And so going in, so I had done my oratory and that was like written out, so I was just practicing that, but my talent was not together. And it's actually funny because people like, oh, like, oh, I love your talent, and I was like, I was literally practicing for my talent in the hotel room at 3 a.m. in the morning the day before prelims. So like just being able to like do that and pull it off, like I'm really, really grateful. But especially for the queens after me, to like let them know, like, don't do what I did, like make sure that,
like if we prepare, we can win this thing. Like if we get it together, then we are going to the top. Like, come on now, like, you know what I'm saying? We got a real chance if we put our, you know, put all of our, you know, eggs into this one basket, and we're gonna do it. But I already know that's like one of the struggles with, you know, being a queen. I feel like everybody expects for you to have it all together because you look pretty on the outside and because you're doing this, that, and the third. So everybody just thinks you have it together, and you put as long as you're pretending and you doing it the right way, people won't know. Because it's just that. But that's one of the things that's another thing I want you to kind of speak on. Like, you know, we struggle and we take our struggles and we kind of have to like, you know, put them on the back burner because it's hard to, you know, show a struggling face, and you're supposed to be the face of your institution. So if you want to, like, you can touch a little bit about like some of the struggles that you may have had, and just like what you've done, like some personal remedies that you've kind of had to bring yourself out of the funk when you've been there. Like, because it's normal, and I think people don't really realize that. And like sometimes, I mean, we're not like, you know, Barack Obama or anything, but like people kind of forget that we're human and that we're people too, and we're not just pretty faces, and that we have to do things in order for us to, you know, really be able to cope. So yeah, you can just go ahead and like share some of the ways that you have coped, or share some of your struggles, like, you know, just, you know, share the real, like what it really is.
I definitely like to do that, because a lot of people, they look on the outside, they're like, oh, everything's okay, like she's smiling, she's waving, saying hi to everybody.
Like, she looks cute.
On the inside, it's like everything could be going wrong. And so like that was like, I told you, like that whole experience like during that month of September was like the most stressful that I've ever been in my life. And like definitely one day, like it really all boiled up. Like I even had some like other like issues with like getting my classes together and all of that. So like just being able to overcome that. And I want people to know that in transparency, it's not always peaches and cream. Like it's difficult sometimes. Like sometimes it's really hard. Like there's like times where like I was literally like in tears, like almost about to cry, and have to like walk through the whole like student services center and like say hi to people, like smile, like, hey, how are you doing, like great day, it's a beautiful day. But like I'm really just trying to walk as fast as I can to my advisor's office, because like I'm really, really like about to cry.
Yeah.
So like things like that, just like wanting people to know that I have been through it. And in order for me to get through that, I definitely had the support of like my advisor, my king, things like that. And definitely having like a strong background, a strong family too, like being able to like call my mother like on the phone and like just like have her talk with me and pray with me and things like that. That just definitely has helped, especially during times like that. And definitely, like I'm saying now, like not being stressed, because that stress will do something, especially like if other things start adding on, that just like takes a toll on you. And so you have like a lot of things weighing you down, but you still want to maintain that like queen like regality about you, and make sure that like everybody around you is okay, making sure your court is okay, all the while like making sure that you maintain that face, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Because it really is a struggle, and sometimes, believe it or not, like you really can feel alone. So I feel like it's really good for us to have like it. I think the conferences, and for you to, I mean, you can talk about that after I finish my statement, but meeting sister queens and meeting other people that are going through similar battles as you, like they're in the exact same situation as you, it makes you feel better. It lets you know that you're not alone, and it makes you feel like, okay, somebody else is like, they understand me, they understand what I'm going through. So like, if you could just talk a little bit about your relationships that you have with your sister queens, and how you guys have like managed to share that bond, because it really is like a sisterhood when you really have someone that is there to share that experience with you, I feel like.
Yeah, so definitely, like, as we were talking, like, just like certain things that like someone would say, or a sister queen would say, like, oh, you went through that too, like,
Yeah, like you think you're alone. You're not.
yeah, it gives me honestly so much comfort, and like even like people who have been through what I've been through and then they've made it out. So I'm like, okay, what did you do? Like, how did you handle this? Because I'm going through it, and so like things like that, just being able to like develop that bond. And I'm just honestly so grateful for my sister queens, and like being able to just have a simple conversation from like campaign season to even like throughout the rain. People like when we were talking about preparing for coronation, you're like, oh, I was running around with my head cut off, like a chicken with my head cut off. And I was like,
literally though.
Same, like that's literally how it is. And just being able to like, we all made it through, like, and we're all just like still striving and like working, being even like greater. And so like honestly, it's just like really, really inspiring, just seeing that we're all great women, and we're all like, we just doing even better than we were before, and being able to believe each other.
Yeah. It's really, like really though, like, and I'm just always so happy when I see any of you guys pop up on my time, and I'm like, look at her, like, oh my God, like, Wilberforce we're not in school during winter break, well, during Christmas, so we don't really, like, we literally get off before Thanksgiving, so we don't really do the whole Christmas thing. But like, I was looking at you and your Christmas, I was like, okay, girl, God, Sarah. But like, that's how you feel, like you're excited to see what your sister queens are going to bring to the table, and like even using them as motivation and inspiration, like, well, she can do it and they look cute, so I'm gonna see how that works, or how that adjusts with me, because I know that I done looked at a lot of different schools and just been like, oh my God, that is a look. Like, how many times I didn't look at myself like, oh my God, that's a look, like they killed that one. But it's really dope to like have that connection and really have people that you can be on the same wavelength with, because even sometimes your king is in at the same school as you and stuff like that, but we even have frustrations with our kings sometimes. So our sister queens are right there with us, and they understand the stress that is put on, the midst of the HBCU, because it can get hectic. So that leads me to my next question. How has your interactions been with your court and your king, and how was that whole process of getting adjusted to them? Because what people don't know is that a court is literally a family, because you don't get to pick, and you guys have to spend your time together. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you just have to do it, like, and you just have to eventually love each other. Like, 10 minutes before I'm about to get on this live, my Mr. Sophomore calls me like, Kajeza, I'm like, what's wrong? Like, I'm thinking something wrong. He's like, you've been on campus and I haven't even seen you. Where you been at? But it's just like, that's just a bond that we have, and that's just how we feel about each other. Like, we just have grown, even though I did not know this young man before this year, really. But now he's like I call them my kids. They're like my children, or like my brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're like they're like nephews. I'll give them that, like like a nephew. So just how has it really been interacting with your court, and like what were some like just tell me some experiences about that.
Yeah, so definitely we become more of like a family. Like, what my advisor always says is that Imperial Court, like, out of like any organization, like, we usually become the closest, the fastest, because we get to go to the Kings and Queens conference in NOLA, and so especially just like that experience like brought us together as a whole. And even like first becoming queen, and like after winning, and like just trying to get everybody together, like, okay, making the group chat, all these things, realizing that everybody has different personalities, everybody takes things different ways, so just trying to like weave through that, it was like a little bit difficult. And then just seeing like, okay, this is like laying things out for everybody, but definitely after getting to know everyone, trying to put like responsibilities together. So like example, like my Mr. and Miss Sophomore, they're both performers. So I had them like choreograph the intro dance for the freshman pageant, things like that. So just giving people what they're good at and just tasking them those assignments. Definitely getting used to everybody. I thought it's actually been easier than what I thought it was going to be. So for during campaign season, like I told you, like my Mr. Senior, he was campaigning for the person who was running against me. So things like that, like you were going to be like nervous, like, okay, so now we're on the same court, what's going to happen? But it's like actually funny because like we're closer, we're like the closest now. So it's like, oh wow, like seeing like how things like, you know, happen. It's just like, wow, like, you know, but definitely like becoming a family and just like having all these people to like manage too. Like you said, like they're like family, but like still like you have to like manage them as if they're like kids and stuff like that. So especially even after adding our Mr. and Miss Freshman onto the team, I was like, okay, now I got 10 people. Okay, now I got
right. Yeah.
So it's like, but it's been I've loved every moment of it.
Yeah, that's really how it is. Like my crew, let's just like a mom, like my crew, let's roll. Like it's genuinely like. It's so dope that when we get together, like sometimes our advisor will literally just scold us like, why are y'all laughing? Y'all supposed to be serious right now. But we just like, we just be having so much fun with each other now. Like, and you know, it's just because all of the time that we spent together, and I'm just so grateful for everybody on my court because they're just all so dope. So, that's really, how was the freshman pageant for you? Like, how was the, you know, just the whole like logistics of it? Because I literally had to set everything up and, you know, put like, you know, and those girls, they're really looking at you to be like a mentor. And, you know, even the ones that don't win, you still want to mentor them or like help them along their journey. So if you just want to talk a little bit about like your process and like, you know, how you went about that.
Yeah, so for the freshmen, it was a really, really tight schedule. So like from the time that school started, it was 2 weeks until the pageant, and the day after that was election. So they had like really a short amount of time. And so what I just kept on telling them every time was like, you guys are running against other people. Remember that it's a competition, that like if you want to win, you have to like work towards it. And so definitely like, and being in the freshman pageant, so I had my court basically running the freshman pageant, so I'll just be there to like supervise and like make sure that everything's going smoothly. And then like if like when they have questions, things like that, they'll ask me and then they'll get back to it. And so I assigned everybody their tasks, and then they just ran through the freshman pageant like a couple times, especially leading up to the week that it was going to actually happen. So it's basically like a regular pageant. We do the oratory, swimwear position, like a swimwear portion, and then the talent, and then the evening wear with the Q&A. And so it was basically like a regular pageant. So leading up to it, I was getting a little bit stressed because especially I was preparing for Atlanta at the same time, and then looking like it was, the freshman pageant was looking like it wasn't coming together. And so I was getting a little bit like nervous. And so I was like, but then on the day of, I was like, okay, it really came together. Everybody knew what they were doing. Everybody just went smoothly. The contestants were like perfect. And I was like, wow. And so, like our Mr. and Miss Freshman, like I'm Baby King and Baby Queen. They're great additions to the court. I love them so much. And so like, definitely, I really, really appreciate them. And then just being able to see them throughout the process, to see them grow, that was something to do.
Yeah. That was kind of a similar experience that I had because it was really stressing me. I'm like, I'm here every night. If these people don't learn this dance, like I was just like, oh my God, if they don't learn this dance. But it really came together so nicely, and we didn't have no hiccups. Nobody messed up on no talents. Nobody messed up on those speeches. I was a proud mom. I was so proud. Like, oh, my kids is so good in this pageant. It was really a close call. But like they were all like so like I was genuinely proud of them and all of the girls and boys that participated in it. I'm just like, you know, even though you didn't win, I don't want you to feel discouraged, and I still want you to go for things. Like one young man, he ran for Mr. Freshman, but he didn't get it, but he became Mr. Romeo, like the Sigma Gamma Rose, their pageant that they have. So he actually won that, and I'm like, well, aren't you happy that you did? You know, you did it, so you weren't scared to like go for it. And it's just like really, it's really like I just feel really good about it. Like I'm just like I'm like look at my kids out here flourishing. And so that you kind of talked about how you know you are shifting the narrative and you want to put your school on a map and you're guiding young women on, like the future queens, you're trying to shape them. And you told me about, you mentoring them and them being able to shadow you. So tell me that method, because maybe some queens are watching and they don't know how to, or maybe some people who want to be queens are watching and they don't know how to approach a queen and see if they could do something like that. So could you just like talk a little bit about that and how you would like to be approached, like if somebody was trying to approach you about it?
So this semester especially, I'm honing in on the future of the Imperial Court. So I'm having a Miss UMES shadow program. So, well, not just anybody who's interested in being Miss UMES, who's interested in being a queen or even a king, period. So, like, if you just want to run or want to see what the Imperial Court is like, you can shadow me for a week throughout February or March before election season starts and really see what I do on a day-to-day basis, because a lot of people see what's like on the outside and they say like, oh, they're just wearing a sash and they will go to events and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's really especially if you're running for a Miss UMES, like a Miss position, you're running a court, you're preparing you're looking for their outfits, you're preparing like what they're going to say, you're preparing like things like that. So like just making sure that everybody's in order, it's a lot more work than it seems. And then also managing everything else, your extracurriculars. People will like call you at like 8 a.m. and be like, hey, can you come speak? Oh, okay. And so like things like that. So like it's a lot of things that you're called on to do, and it's a lot more than what it seems on the outside. So that's definitely what I've been trying to do and put into motion for the Miss UMES shadow program. A lot of girls have actually already come to me and say like, oh, I'm interested in running for Miss UMES. And that's also another thing that I had told you was like being a junior and being queen. Some people haven't really seen that before, and they'll see it like often across like HBCU. So a lot of schools that can have a queen as a junior. And at my university, a lot of girls that are like freshmen wanting to be juniors and be queens, or sophomores that want to be juniors and be the queen, they have approached me like, okay, so how did you do it? Like, how do you manage everything? Like, things like that. So I definitely like that inspirational portion as well, to show like you can mix it all together and have it be something great. Definitely at other schools, I would say if you're going to approach like your queen at your school, or even approach me at my school, I would definitely just say like, just go for it. Honestly, like you won't know until you ask. And every queen that I know is super nice, and like they will definitely like let you know everything that they've been doing. Like, okay, yeah, if you want to know more about it. Some schools, they have like in their constitution, like you can't help people who are like trying to run. So definitely that time period before you actually start campaigning is definitely a good period to actually ask questions and things like that before they actually can't help you at all.
Yeah, because during the campaign season, you're not allowed to endorse anyone or like have any favorites. So you don't. If you're trying to shoot your shot at Queendom, you might want to get the ball rolling right now. But I think that's a really good program that you're implementing, and I might have to steal it and bring it here because I really think that's dope. And I think a lot of people at my institution, they're sometimes intimidated because it's a lot of talk around campaign, like right before campaign season, like who's doing what, who's doing who, like who's going to run, who's going to be a part of it. So I think that that's a really good way to like ease the load and ease the burden and like take some of the stressors away, because then you can, and then what if you shadow someone and you see that this is not what you want to do? You want to be able to do that and really see what you're getting yourself in for. Because for me, I talked to my mother queen and we're cool, but I didn't really know what she went through per se. I just seen her sometimes, and that goes for my grandmother queen too, and my great grandma queen, like all the ones that I've seen since I'm a senior. But like all of them, I never really like shadowed them. I admired them from afar, and I may have had conversations with them, and even I was on the same cheerleading team as my grandmother queen, so we were even like cheer sisters, but I never really knew exactly what she went through as far as the Miss Wilberforce aspect. And like they all told me when I asked them on a personal level that it was hard, but that was like way after, like, way after like I was already pursuing a position. So, I mean, I don't think that would have deterred me really, because I'm not really that type of person, but it would have just more so opened my eyes. And I do think that those conversations are very important, and seeing people in that role makes it all the more real for people too. Because after you shadow someone and you see it right before your eyes, it makes you feel like, okay, I'm really in this position and I'm really like doing this with her. Like, okay, like this can be something that I can get used to. So I'm probably going to steal it. I'm gonna credit you though. I'm definitely going to credit you. Like Sarah taught me. Sarah taught me. Hashtag Sarah taught me. That's what I'm going to say. So just going a little bit deeper, what would be some pieces of advice that you have for anybody wanting to be a HBCU queen, whether that be the Miss of their institution or whether that be like a Miss Sophomore, Miss Junior, Miss, anything like that? What would be your, advice?
Yeah, so like you said, definitely know what you want, know what you're getting yourself into, definitely. Because it ends up being a lot of work. You end up putting a lot of hours into it, and so some people don't realize that. And so definitely being able to realize that, know exactly that this is what you really want to do before you jump in. And then when you do it, go all in. Don't like try to get in and then be like, oh, I'm not sure. Like while you're in it, be sure that you want to do it, and then put your whole heart into it. And so definitely I would suggest telling people that and letting people know exactly what it is. I try to be transparent, so letting people know that like it's not all like icing and like
glamour.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's not all glamour.
And so definitely letting people know that like it does take work, but definitely being in a queen position, it pushes you into like a different level of womanhood, I would say, than anything else that I've ever experienced. So that is something that is really good. That is something that you can definitely benefit from. You can definitely learn from. And definitely, especially like with my program, people can see me, they can see my reign, things that I'm doing throughout my reign. They can choose to implement that, like my next queen. She can choose to implement that in her reign, or she can say like, oh, I didn't like this, so she can change that. Whatever is beneficial towards securing the legacy, that is what I'm all for.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice for sure, because that's really what it's all about, is knowing what you're getting yourself into. You're not gonna get a job and you don't know what the job is. Like, you want to know, because that's literally what this is. It's really like a lifestyle, to be honest. It's even more than a job. It's a whole lifestyle. It consumes you, and it takes a toll on you if you're not ready for that. I mean, even if you are ready, it can still take a toll on you. Let me not even say that, because I mean, you can feel like you're the most prepared ever, because I felt like I was so prepared. I was so ready, and then boom, I was still knocked right off my feet. Like, I did a lot of the things that I wanted to do, but it came at a cost. Like, it was still a lot to do. And I feel like if I had to give any advice to anyone that wants to be Miss Wilberforce or Miss Central State, anybody who wants to do anything to that degree, I would just say literally research, and then go for it. That's all that there is to it. You have to make sure that you have to research and make sure that you're campaigning right, and, having the proper status on campus. I wouldn't say status, but you can't just be doing just anything and think that everybody is going to, I just think that it's really important for everyone to just really know what you're getting yourself into and go for it. Those are my pieces of advice. And the last question that I have for you is, what do you want to do after college?
Yes. So with my major, I plan on continuing to work for NASA and the government for a few years after I graduate and get my master's, also in aviation management as well. And after that, go into the private industry. And definitely one thing that I want to continue to do is to promote the STEM industry, promote going into the STEM field, especially for may not be sure if they want to do it, or they just have like an idea that maybe they want to do STEM. Like me, they wanted to do STEM, but they don't know exactly what they want to do and things like that. And just making sure that they have like a role model or mentors, things like that, and setting them up with the right people to make sure that they're successful in the industry. So.
That's dope. Like I can't wait to tell people like, yeah, that's Sarah. Like she works for NASA. like yeah, I know her. Like I know her. I can't wait. So it's been really dope talking to you. Do you have any, final thoughts, any final things that you just want to, tell the people, and, just any final thoughts at all?
Just thank you so much for having me. Definitely for anybody considering becoming a queen or a miss, anything like that, just stay consistent, honestly. Don't waver. Be really strong. It'll be okay. It's all going to be okay. That's what I always say, like, no matter what you're going through. And even, like, just seeing, like, all my sister queens and, like, everything like that, being able to get that, like, building up from other fellow women that are in the same position that I am has been an amazing experience. And so I definitely recommend it for any young woman or man interested in running for a queen or king position. And yes, definitely a great thing to do.
That is a great final thought. So we're going to wrap it up here. We've been talking for 45 minutes straight. Can you believe it? 45 minutes straight. But it's been all gold. It's been all golden. And if you are watching this on the story or you're seeing this, make sure that you go back and you watch the whole thing, because Sarah was spitting gems. And, I like to think that I spit a couple, rubies out there. So just make sure you guys go back and watch. I didn't actually ever introduce myself. I am Kajeza Hawkins, the 93rd Miss Wilberforce University. You can follow me at Ka.Jeza. And make sure you follow A Queen Series. And we're going to come every weekday not every weekday, but every week at 7, depending on. Yeah, no, it's going to be every weekday at 7. So, Sarah, you can go ahead and give everybody your socials and let them know where they can follow you and find you at.
Hey y'all, Sarah. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at ADEWUMISARAH. So it's Adewumi Sarah on Instagram or Twitter, and Snapchat too, but I don't really use that, so yeah.
Me either. But yeah, and thank you HBCU Pulse for powering this and putting everything together. We thank you, and we're out. Bye.
Bye.